Good morning, e-commerce business school world. This is Coach Kurt Johnson on behalf of Ann Sieg and Brian Cummings and all the coaches, trainers, faculty here at the e-commerce business school. And this lovely lady right above me is Carol. I'll get to introducing her in just a moment. Hey, we're glad you're here for Saturday Morning Live. What we're going to be doing here on the e-commerce business school is bringing you education, sharing our community with you, showing you how to implement things in your business, and that's going to revolve around taxes and accounting and business things here with Carol today. So we've got Lisa Celine in the house, we've got Ann Sieg in the house, we've got Candida in the house. Good morning, everybody, as they're rolling in. So let's go ahead and dive in this morning. Hey, first of all, we do want to welcome all of our new members. People just continue to pour into the e-commerce business school. Even just last night, I think it was around midnight, I don't know, something like that, we had some new book flippers come in. Whether you're coming in through print on demand, one of our higher results-driven entrepreneurial mentoring programs, or Shop Your Way to Wealth, or trying just kicking the tires and trying our free membership. We'll talk about that later too. We just want you to know that we are here for you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And what we're doing on Saturday Morning Lives is just bringing some really good free training to the community. And so all along the way, as this is all new to you and say, what in the world's going on? I'm Coach Kurt Johnson on behalf of Ann Sieg. And if you want to know, we'll get to this later too, you can just go join EBS, that stands for e-commerce business school, joinebs.com. So now, thank you for your patience, Carol. You're such a patient person. This is Carol Smith, CPA, and what I have, Carol, we're going to get into your professional life and all that, but I decided, how I know you now isn't so much in your professional life, but, you've just been such an awesome participant and member of our community. I got some shots here of us in Colorado. So tell us a little bit about Carol the person and your interaction with us and Colorado, the ultimate business lifestyle, anything like that. Then we're going to get in deep into your business tax world.
Well, I have been with you guys forever. In fact, I ran across Ann years ago and have been following her training for years. It's been wonderful. And I loved Colorado. We jumped in with both feet in Colorado. And I have my dog tag.
Oh, yay! All right.
I went through the boot camp, which was amazing and really got me going into the tax year. It was perfect timing. I did it in January and loved that. So it's very motivating. So if you guys get a chance to do the boot camp, definitely sign up for it. It's a good experience for
All right. And by the way, guys, I did not ask her to say that. Thank you, Carol. So, you and Scott are just fun to be around, fun to have around, and really serious about your business and all that kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about, before, again, we get into your professional life, your entrepreneurial journey. Obviously, you're a seasoned and accomplished professional, have a great business, even though you're up in the mountains now in 1.5 feet of snow. You can talk about that if you want, but, tell us a little bit about your desire, to go even beyond your professional life.
Yeah, we wanted to do something because we've been self-employed for many years. We wanted to do something that would help enhance our retirement savings and give us some income going beyond the time that we choose to retire on our day-to-day businesses. Up until recently, we were part owners of an assisted living facility and worked with caregivers, and I loved the working with the residents and the caregivers on that side. It was amazing. Then I've had the accounting practice. Well, I worked in the accounting world for quite a few years, and how we ended up in the assisted living business and everything, we got downsized during the Enron crisis in Texas. We lived in Houston, and one thing led to the other, and that's how we ended up in the entrepreneurial side of things. We didn't want to go back to the corporate world and have that risk. We wanted to control what happened in our lives. So I can relate to my clients. My clients are mainly own businesses. A lot of them are online sellers. and we got into the online selling world, and we've been doing well. We've been doing retail arbitrage, which led us into doing wholesale. Fourth quarter, which is the best time for me in my business, we sell a lot of stuffed toys and all sorts of gift type items, and do very well doing that, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carol. Again, just really appreciate you taking the time to share some of your wisdom. I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple slides here so people now get to know you and in your profession and that. So, well, Carol is full service accounting and tax services. I'm just going to read these couple slides, Carol.
Okay.
Improve your business team and bottom line by adding an experienced Amazon and online sales accounting services firm to your team. We're not just a CPA firm, we're also a client of e-commerce business school, so we understand your business challenges. And then this is also, they can read this in our back office. We'll show them how to get there in a moment. I'm going to quick go over it now, Carol. Carol is a CPA and the founding owner of Carol Smith CPA. Carol Smith CPA is a full-service accounting firm specializing in small business accounting, bookkeeping, and tax. Hey, people are rolling in. Hey, Paula. Hey, Cindy. Hi, Julie. We're going to get to this and give some opportunity to ask some questions, too. Carol is a licensed CPA in the state of Arizona. Carol told me this was a little bit iffy. There's 1.5 feet of snow up in the mountains of Arizona. I always think of 100 degrees there, but it can provide most accounting and tax services in any state in the U.S. So our industry specialization is business involved in online sales, web stores through Amazon, eBay. Carol and her fiance also sell products on Amazon and online stores in their own business. I'm going to skip on down to the end, and people can read this later, Carol, if you want to add anything to this, but I really enjoyed one of the slides that you sent me here. With the cartoon on it. Looks like you're on top of new regulations. So, Carol, if you want to add anything to your resume, feel free to do that. And I know we wanted to talk about new regulations, Wayfair, and all that kind of stuff. So I had you the mic, and I'll look for questions in the box, and I'll be asking you some as we move along, too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I do follow a lot of the tax law changes, the, accounting changes. With my CPA, I'm required to take so much training, and I focus it mainly more on the online sales because that's what I'm interested in too. So, and one of the biggies that really happened this year was a Supreme Court decision on Wayfair. And what's important on that for online and Amazon sellers is that it changed this sales tax laws basically. And the state of South Dakota won on that. And I try not to make this too dry. Jump in there with your jokes there. But
no, people want to know this stuff. It's important, Carol. So
it is.
Yep,
it is. Yep. And it changed where they call Nexus. And it used to be Nexus was if you had a physical location or the state for Amazon sellers, it would be the state that you were living in or had your business in. That changed because of all the online sales in the online world to where that can be the warehouses of Amazon. It can be, remote sellers are responsible for selling in a state. So now you've got 50 some odd states you've got to deal with to decide, hey, do I pay taxes? Do I not? One of the good things, if we were going to have this happen, which it was eventually going to happen, the states are needing money. They want to get the sales tax, as well as retailers, physical brick and mortar companies say, hey, that's not fair. They don't have to pay sales tax. So this came down the pike on that. The advantage to this is in South Dakota, they said, well, a remote seller or somebody from outside the state that's shipping items in, they are only responsible for filing state taxes with us if you have greater than $100,000 in sales or more than 200 individual transactions in that state. So it defined what happened, and more states are jumping on the bandwagon with this. And those are kind of becoming the standard. So that makes it a little easier. But, now Amazon sellers, the nexus is the 20 plus states and growing of where Amazon has warehouses. So now you're going, oh, I'm responsible for all of this. And it's scary. And each one has its own little tweaks to things. So that's where, when you really start getting into this and you decide that this is where you want to go, this is going to become an important part of your business. Now, most of us starting out, we're not selling $100,000 a year, but some people have gotten there very quickly working with 80/20, with e-commerce business school. So, that has to be in the back of your mind.
Sure. If you grow, you'll be able to hire experts like you to take care of those parts of your business. But is that $100,000 overall my Amazon account, or would that be $100,000 in a particular state?
That is in the individual state.
Okay.
Or greater than 200 transactions in that individual state.
Okay. All right. So the beginner, it really isn't on the radar, certainly right away. But
correct.
Okay. Yep. And I have to ask, is that why you're hiding in the mountains in Arizona to avoid the tax collector? I'm kidding. So, well, yeah, this is a big deal. So what do you suggest? At what point would you suggest then someone that is just getting going, they're moving forward with their business, setting up the business, when should they be looking at getting the expert help for their businesses, whether it's business or tax or whatever? Can you help the newer person on that journey and what you suggest moving along to hire people to help?
Well, the first thing you need to think about is your own state, the state you're in. And once you get up and going and really starting selling, technically the law is if you're selling products in your state, you need to be collecting sales tax and submitting it. That is the law. Now, whether you'll be on their radar screen when you first start out, probably not. And if you're just testing this and sending a few things into Amazon to sell, your sales aren't going to be much. So, you probably have a little bit of leeway there. I have to say, the tax law, you have to follow the law, but you're not going to be on their radar screen. So don't go getting scared that they're going to come after me now because I haven't done this. And it's just like everything with starting a new business. Until you know for sure that you're really going to make this professional and you're really going to go with it, this is what you want to do some baby steps coming in.
Yep.
Some of you are lucky. One of the things that happened out of this is right now there's 8 states and more coming on that are saying that it's the responsibility of the marketplace, so Amazon, to collect and submit taxes on behalf of the third-party sellers or the FBA sellers. So there's 8 states, Alabama, Connecticut, Iowa, Minnesota, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and Washington, that Amazon is doing this for the FBAs. So if you're in one of those states, you don't have to worry about registering as long as your sales are only through Amazon, and eBay is doing this as well. But
and is it true that there are states that don't even have sales tax also?
Yes, there are some that you don't have to worry about. I think right now, and if you stay around, I have an opportunity to give you some information. And that is one of the things that I am sharing with people is all the states and what they require. There's links to that information so that you know what to do. The other thing is there is software out there, and I know Ann has a link in her back office under resources to TaxJar, and it's one of many programs that you can sign up for, and they will handle all of this for you. And I even use them. They are a great resource. So, and they will actually link to your Amazon account and pull that information and submit it on your behalf.
Great. Well, Carol, I put up the slide here, basically three questions, and I'm going to look for questions in the panel here. We talked a little bit about Wayfair. We talked a little bit about sharing your wisdom and when to set stuff up legally. We get that question a lot in e-commerce business school. I'll pause right there for a second. Do I have to have an LLC? When should I set up? What kind of business? What kind of legal entity? So on and so forth. What's your advice on that?
Again, I go back to the baby steps. One of the key things you want to do is get a separate business account, whether it be a credit card that you use to purchase your items and maybe a savings account to put your income into when it comes in. And that can be in your personal name initially. As soon as you know you're doing well or you want to keep going on this is something you're going to want to do long term. Then that's when you want to look at a legal entity because it protects you. And most of you are going to say, well, I'm just selling things online. There's no risk. Well, what if somebody their baby gets a hold of a toy or something they shouldn't have? And even though you've put on there, for 3 and up or whatever, if they swallow that and get injured, they could come after you. There's a risk. And having a legal entity protects you of that risk. And it protects you more and more as you add employees or VAs or whatever direction you're going to go in your business. And those legal entities, I'm not an attorney, but I know from experience that it protects you and your personal assets. So they can't come after your house if you've got the correct legal structure and you're using business accounts. And as soon as you can get a tax ID, that's for free through irs.gov. You can also get a business bank account once you have a entity set up with your state. And that varies state to state on if there's a fee, what they require for you to set up. And that's when you'd want to get with an attorney or at least a paralegal to help you get that going and making sure that you're setting it up correctly in the state to protect yourself.
Okay.
If you decide to go with business partners or something, definitely get an attorney involved.
Great. I'm going to look back. Julie had asked Carol, is it the state where the buyer lives? Back to the sales tax thing. Or if I live in Illinois, does that mean if someone purchased something from me, even though it's from Amazon and shipped from some other thing, that's the sales tax I pay on?
Yes, okay. That's what it's based on. And you can get reports on Amazon. They provide that for you to determine that. But also to set up in your state for sales in your state. That's pretty standard unless it was one of those 8 states I named off.
And I'm not an accountant and not an attorney. I just don't want new people to get scared. Quite honestly, I ran my business with my social security number for a long time before I did anything. I made, like close to $100,000 on sales, maybe over on Amazon, doing it a little bit on the side. The sales and even though Illinois is a bigger state, the sales in Illinois were just a very small part of that. So the taxes on that was even littler. It was real easy to interface with the government. It's not a big deal. Obviously, if you're going to have a business, you're going to have to start acting like a business. And so you can add these things as you go along at your pace. So, So anyway, but that's why you do want to glean the wisdom of someone like Carol and get the advice as you move along. I did that, and that's why we love having Carol in our community and expertise like her, because we don't try to provide that function here at the e-commerce business school. Carol, moving along on the slide here, we talked a little bit about sales taxes. We talked a little bit about legal entities. What about the income itself? Can you address a little bit about the personal taxes and how all that works?
Yes, when it comes to your income taxes, number one, if you decide to set up a corporation or an LLC or something, then that will play into how you're going to do your taxes. But starting off, most of us are going to be sole proprietors. So you're going to do what they call a Schedule C or a business schedule on your personal 1040. And on that, all that income flows through your personal return. Now, there's 2 approaches that I take with clients when it comes to their taxes on their businesses, whether they be a big corporation or they've set up an LLC or they're just doing a sole proprietorship, is most people are going to want to deduct everything they can legally and get that tax as low as possible. That makes sense. But if your plan is to sell that business or go out for some sort of financing or a loan, let's say, you want to go big and warehouse a bunch of items and you may do a small business loan to do that, you want your tax return to look like your business is doing well. And so you're going to pay a bit more in taxes to not deduct everything that's available to you to make your business look better. That sometimes is a better approach if you're thinking about selling your business down the road. But if you want to build a legacy, this is a family thing, and you're going to keep it going for a while, then take every single deduction you can to get those taxes lower. And it's available to you, and it's legal.
Awesome. Also, then, we talk a lot about here at D-Commerce Business School of hiring virtual assistants, and I know in that whole realm in terms of payroll and on, are there any legal /tax /accountability if in that realm when I decide to hire people, a U.S. versus a virtual assistant, say in India or the Philippines?
Yes. And you guys do promote FreeUp and some of the other sites. And so if you're hiring through those, of course, you're paying a fee, but that fee helps you cover the responsibility on, having to pay taxes for the person or having to issue a 1099 in the US. If you hire somebody and they make more than $600 and they're a contractor, which most of those people are, you're supposed to send out a 1099 to them. Well, going through a lot of those sources, you don't have to worry about that. They take care of that side of thing. And then if they're out of the United States, that's a whole different story, of course, too. Okay. But, and if you're hiring your family and your kids, this is really good. You can pay them, and if you have, say, a 4 or 5 year old, they can bag things for you and you can pay them. And you don't have to report any of that as long as they're a family member. And that's a write-off to your business. You can take some of that money and let them have fun money and maybe put it in a savings account for their education later. So it's, there's a lot of flexibility there, but do be aware if you bring somebody into your business locally that you may be responsible for payroll taxes to them if they're not working for somebody else or have the capability to work for somebody else. And there's a whole checklist of things that you need to be aware of to call a person a contractor versus an employee and paying payroll.
The whole family thing, in another industry, but it would apply to this industry too. It's been said, and I'd like your take on this, that having your own home business is one of the best tax strategies in the world. Why is that?
The IRS gives you the opportunity to write off the space in your home. So let's say you're using a room in your home and that's where you do all your packaging, you store all your items, and some people probably have a couple rooms. And there's two approaches. One is they give you $5 per square foot for that portion of the home. So let's say you're using 100 square feet, you can get a $500 write-off on your taxes for that space. Or you can take it to the level where they take a percentage of your square foot. So let's say 100 square feet and 1,000 square foot home, 10% of all the expenses for that house. That's your mortgage interest, your insurance, your utilities, your trash pickup, everything, even down to improvements in the home. And especially if you're taking improvements in that office, let's say you go in and put some shelves in there to store things. That's a direct write-off. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. The other thing, and that's outside of this write-off, you can take your cell phone costs, a percentage of that, your internet costs, all your printing and everything else that you do. If you're buying a printer, a laser printer, I've seen a lot of people talking about that online on the Facebook page, that's a direct write-off to your business.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to look for some questions in the panel, guys, so feel free to pop them in. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Julie. Lots of people on the call. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Okay. Judith asked, do you know what form number for checklist to be a contractor? Not sure I understand the question, but Judith asked, do you know what form number to checklist to be a contractor?
It's not specifically a form. I assume that she's looking for, how do you determine who's a contractor or not? If you go out to irs.gov and you do a search on contractor versus employee, you should find something. Or if nothing else, Google contractor versus employee, and you should find a ton of articles on that.
Okay. And Melissa asks, when you are paying family members, how do you categorize that in the books in order to write that expense off?
I would put them down as payroll cost family, if you have that option, or subcontractor family, and put that in either one of those categories. It depends on what software you're using or if you're using a spreadsheet, but keep that separate on tracking from any other costs that you have. If you're using, say, a virtual assistant, keep those two categories separate. So.
Yeah. Well, Carol, impression I'm getting and having this conversation with you, especially now in light of the new Nexus rulings and all that kind of stuff, is everybody's situation is different. There's 50 different states. There's 50 different, their family dynamics, on and on and on. And so it really does need a personal attention, of which I'm starting to slide into assuring people why they might want to contact you. It's not a, just like the packages that we do here at the E-commerce Business School. By the way, if you want to know more about Carol and about what we do here at the E-commerce Business School, I'll get to this again at the end. You can go join EBS, ecommercebusinessschool.com, join EBS.com. You'll have the track then to get a hold of Carol, and not only this information, but a lot of other great information. So we just want to help educate you so that you're able to then implement these things in the right season, and Carol can share that with you. So Carol, you got something special. I'm going to go to the back office in a moment, but I got the slide here, special offer for EBS members. Would you like to go over that, or would you like me to read it?
I can go over it very quickly.
Okay.
Let me flip to that page because I can't see it on this one.
Right.
Well, one of the things, first of all, is if you'd like a free 1-hour consult with me, I'm giving that. As well as I mentioned earlier, there's a link that will provide you, and you can go in and download. I have a expense tracking sheet, income tracking sheet. It's in a spreadsheet, and I provide that to a lot of my clients that are starting out, because it gets a little overwhelming, as you can tell. What direction do I go? What do I do? And this spreadsheet will help you track month by month your income and your expenses, your mileage for driving back and forth to stores, etc. And so that's a part of it. Some links and information about the sales tax, and it's particularly a screen that shows all the different states that Amazon is collecting taxes for, those 8 states that I gave you, and it's going to be more. They're going to be adding some more throughout the year. How to choose the right entity for your business, and that's through the SBA. And SBA is a great resource to you guys. Their website's good. Also, if you have a local community college, that's a great resource if you're having questions about business entity or what should I do. Those are 2 good sources. Information about bookkeeping, inventory, sales tax software, and I've even got some helpful links. Those of you that are using QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online, how to set that up. So there's links to videos on how to do that. And then one that I'm seeing a lot of posting on Facebook page as well is how to run those year-end reports. What do I need to pull together for my taxes? When to hire an accountant. We talked about business entities, looking at those and what would work best for you is just one of the many things that you might want to look at. And then just a bunch of links that will help you find information about sales tax, taxes, accounting, all of that. So it's a pretty good package.
Awesome. And they can access all of this by just making an appointment with you. So let's show them how to do that. That's great, Carol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you're not a member of the e-commerce business school, we have a free membership where you can come and access a lot of value, including the route to find Carol here at joinebs.com. And so I'm going to go ahead and go into that back office. Again, say, well, Kurt, I don't have a membership. Well, you do now. All you have to do is go to joinebs.com and you'll be able then to get into the back office. Once you get into the back office, it'll look something like this. And then when you're in the back office, you're going to look for tools and resources right here on the left menu bar. Click on that, and that will bring up tools and resources, and that's where we are putting these Saturday morning lives. You'll find Kathleen's copywriting from last week, other resources. Oh, there, you almost passed it. So you'll find Carol, that's her logo right there, with the little toy block there. I like the logo, Carol. You know, so accounting and tax services. And so you'll learn more there, and that sends you to Carol's scheduler. So I just encourage you to do that. Carol, do you have anything to add about that? And then we'll field some more questions in the box to finish things up here.
Yeah. If once you get to my webpage, and we're working on getting an add-on link, but right now you have to go down to the bottom of the screen to find the send us an email. Just put your name, your email, and a message in there. Put in EBS so I know that you found me through EBS, and you'll qualify for that package as well. I'll send you an email out to get that package. So
awesome. We'll review that again here, guys, at the end, but not for now. We're just going to take, if it's okay, Carol, we'll take just a few more minutes for some Q&A here.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
That's perfect.
All right. Okay. Roderick asked, should people be using software as the business grows, or it is okay to use a spreadsheet?
Starting out, a spreadsheet's great. You know, it's a good way for you to know how you're doing throughout, because you want to know, am I making money? As well as keeping track of the key expenses that you want to report on your taxes. Keep your receipts, of course, set those aside, but you can summarize them in a spreadsheet if you want to start out, and then jump into some software down the road.
Great. Greg asks, does the sales tax situation depend on where the customer is located, or based on where we are as the seller located?
It is becoming more and more where the customer is located. Now, for your initial responsibility, once you really get going, you're going to want to focus on the state that you're in initially. And then when you start getting into that, hey, I'm selling a lot and I'm probably selling over 100,000 in a state, that's when then you're going to have to be signing up with the individual states.
Great. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Getting a lot of thank yous. Laura says thank you. Julie says thank you. Ann Sieg says, Carol's a top-notch professional. What an amazing package. All right. Lisa says, huge value, Carol. All right, let me scroll down one more time. Roderick says thank you. Okay, well, Carol, I really do appreciate you taking the time. I don't see any other questions. If you do have a question, you're listening to this via recording, is it okay if they tag you, Carol, in this thread?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, and she can answer it there. But again, the main thing you want to do is go get that free 1-hour consultation, and you do that by going to joinebs.com. In fact, if I could ask Lisa to put that in the thread right here, I have some technical issues that I can't type that in myself. Just joinebs.com if it's not in the instructions there earlier, so that we can do that. So yeah, heart and hustle is what sets us apart. E-commerce business school. In fact, I think in that picture I even saw you and Scott somewhere in there. I know you've come to a lot of events. So Carol, coming full circle, I'm going to leave the Join EBS and the back office thing, because that's how they're going to access you, so that they can get the free membership and join our results-driven mentoring community. If you want to share anything else here, or why, besides the value you're bringing, the other value that e-commerce business school has for people on their entrepreneurial e-commerce journey, and we'll close with that thought.
We love e-commerce business school. Anne gives you so much value and just keeps giving. I'll tell you honestly from our experience, we have learned so much. In fact, we went to the Shop Your Way to Wealth class, one of the first ones. And as soon as we left that class, we were in Florida and we were staying a few days. We shopped our way across Florida and then shipped items from our hotel room the night before we flew out and stopped at UPS on the way to the airport. It's addictive, and it's a fun and fast way to start making money, and it's relatively easy, and you can make it fit your schedule, because I was running 2 businesses at the time, and we still were able to do it and make money, and we are still growing. They're adding constantly new programs, new opportunities, new ways to approach the online sales business. In fact, we're in the process of trying to do the print on demand. That's our next goal. It's what we're working on.
Awesome. Well, it's great having you in the community, Carol. Thank you for adding more value to it for our members here. So on behalf of Ann Sieg and all the faculty, do grab your free membership. If you're not a member already, it'll take you to the back office, tools and resources, and you'll find how to snag that great value that Carol's offering with that free appointment. So, and Joanne says, exactly what I needed. Okay, thank you, Carol. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And Coach Kurt, on behalf of everybody, just saying have a great weekend. Now, make it one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol.